Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Knutson, and I work with Fairfax County Department of Transportation. And I want to welcome you all to this meeting tonight to discuss the traffic calming plan for Blueridge View Drive. And we can start with introductions. And tonight from FCDOT, we also have Grace and Nicole joining us. And from the Solid District Supervisor's Office, we have Mike Coyle. And if any of the community's task force members are logged on to tonight's meeting, they can introduce themselves during the question and answer session that will follow a short presentation that we have to run through. Mike, is there anything you would like to say before we start?
Steve, thank you. And I'll just say thank you for everyone for attending tonight's meeting. As you well know, there was a petition to address the speeding issue on Blueridge View Drive. And so our office, working with the task force and with the county's Department of Transportation, have put together the plan, the proposed plan that the county's Department of Transportation is going to present tonight. Thanks, Steve.
All right. So, Nicole, if you're ready, you can go ahead and start the presentation.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Okay, welcome everyone. As Steve mentioned, we are here to discuss a traffic calming plan for Blueridge Field Drive. So I would like to go over a couple things before we begin. Please note that this session is being recorded and may be shared on social media. Please hold all questions until the end of the presentation, and the instructions for how to ask those questions will be provided at the end of the presentation. Okay, today we are here to explain the traffic calming process, provide an opportunity for community to give feedback, and answer any questions that you all might have. So I'd like to start off with what is traffic calming. Traffic calming is the installation of physical devices to reduce vehicle speed. These devices can be either vertical or horizontal. Vertical devices are driven over, such as a speed hump, as you can see in the upper left-hand image. And then while you drive around horizontal devices, such as a raised median island, as you can see in the upper right image. Both types of devices make the road safer for drivers and pedestrians. I would like to note that through this process, we are not permitted to install stop signs. Here we have charts and images showing the effects of decreased speed. As speed decreases, visual acuity, field of vision, and depth perception increase. Also, with reduced speed, we come to a significant reduction in number of severity of crashes involving motor vehicles. Here we show a map of traffic calming projects throughout Fairfax County. There are over 200 projects resulting in more than 600 devices countywide. Fairfax County Department of Transportation works closely with the District Supervisor's Office and collaborates with citizens on these community-initiated projects. Every district has a device, so chances that you've driven over one are pretty high. The upcoming program can be broken into 5 steps. So step number 1 is project initiation. Step number 2, plan development. Step number 3, community engagement. Step number 4, ballot phase. And the final step, which is project initiation, step number 5. So, as mentioned earlier, all traffic calming projects are always community initiated. So the process begins with a request from the community to the supervisor's office. Once Fairfax County Department of Transportation receives that request, we will conduct an eligibility review. Then we will conduct a traffic study. If the subject road qualifies for both eligibility review and a traffic study, the community then forms a task force. So there are basic eligibility requirements. These requirements are the road must be VDOT maintained, have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, be functionally classified as local collector or arterial, and if it's a collector or arterial, it needs to be a residential street. For the traffic study components, we're going to have the results for Blueridge View Drive. For volume criteria, we need between 500 and 6,000 vehicles 24 hours, both directions combined. So for Blueridge View Drive, we had 968. So we met the volume criteria as well, okay? And then for the speed criteria, we need the 85th percentile speed needs to be greater than or equal to 35 miles per hour. What this means is 15% of vehicles need to be traveling 35 miles per hour or faster in at least one direction of travel. So for Blueridge View Drive, we had the 85th percentile in the eastbound lane, 35 miles per hour, and in the westbound lane, it was 36 miles per hour. So we met the speed criteria as well. So with qualifying, we can move on to step 2, plan development. This is the second step. First, we will conduct a site visit in the field in order to develop a draft plan. Once we have that draft plan, we will meet with the task force to get feedback and then amend the plan if necessary. Once the task force is satisfied with the draft plan, homeowners directly adjacent to any proposed measure will need to sign off the placement of the device in order to move on to the next step. So here we have device placement requirements. Based on the guideline, we need a minimum of 300 feet between measures and from existing stopping conditions. We need a minimum of 150 feet from an intersection, a minimum of 150 feet for adequate site distance with any device, and it needs to fit on the existing roadway, so we need to take into account any driveways, manholes, utilities, and we also have to count for the grade of the road. So based on those requirements, we were able to draft a plan and propose 2 speed humps on Blueridge View Drive. The addresses that are listed on the boxes are the ones that signed off on the adjacent property forms because the devices are directly adjacent to their homes. Here we have a graphic of a speed hump. So it's going to be 12 feet long and 3 inches high at center. And in addition to the speed hump, there will be a speed hump sign and recommended 15 mile per hour sign on each side. There will also be white chevrons in each travel lane, as you can see here on the speed hump schematic. Step number 3 is community meeting, which is where we're here today. In this, we present the plan to the community to obtain feedback. Based on that feedback, the task force will decide whether to amend the plan or proceed to the next phase. If the task force decides to move forward, we then move on to step 4, which is ballot phase. So here we are, step 4, ballot phase. Each household in the ballot area will receive 1 vote. It will need to, or the homeowner will need to, the ballot will need to be sent directly to the district supervisor's office. The ballot time period will be open for a minimum of 3 weeks. And the supervisor's office will tally the votes and notify the task force of the results. Here we have an example of the ballot. The proposal will be listed on the ballot, and the community will be voting on the entirety of that plan. The task force is responsible for distributing the ballot packages to everyone in the ballot area. There are 3 ways you can return your ballot by the deadline. One is you can mail in the ballot. 2, you can hand deliver directly to the supervisor's office. And 3, you can email the ballot directly to the supervisor's office. Please do not return your ballot to the task force. The ballot should go directly to the supervisor's office. Here we have the ballot area for Blueridge View Drive. There are 31 ballots, and in order for the proposed plan to move forward, we will need greater than 50% of all households to vote in favor. So we will need 16 yes votes in order for the plan to move forward. Okay, if we get the required number of yes votes, we can move on to step 5, which is project installation, which is the final step. So the traffic calming plan will be presented to the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors for endorsement, and then that resolution will be sent to VDOT. Once the plan has been endorsed and VDOT accepts it, FCDOT will work with the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services to schedule the installation. And finally, the traffic calming measures on the plan will be installed. So here's the end of our presentation. We're going to move on to the question and answer session. You have 2 options, chat or speak. Once the chat item is activated on Teams, you can use it by typing your question. And if you want to speak, click the raise your hand icon, then you will be unmuted once it's your turn. Once you get the, once we send you the unmute request, you'll hit allow in order for it to be completely unmuted to ask your question. If you are on the phone, please push *5 to raise your hand. When it is your turn, the host will call on you to ask your question. You need to push *6 to unmute, and after you are finished, please push *5 to unraise your hand. Thank you very much.
Ronald, I'm seeing you have your hand raised. I'm going to send you a request to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, it's Kathleen Laser, and I just have a quick question about if we get 16 or more votes for yes, and this continues from the time that you guys tally the votes and it's a go, roughly how long does it take to install the speed humps? I'm sure it's based on projects in hand, but any kind of estimate?
Yeah, it also is kind of dependent on the schedule for the Board of Supervisors. I think it's taking us about 4 to 8 weeks to get something on the agenda, and then probably 2 to 4 months to get something installed once it's sent over to DPW. So we could be looking at about 6 months after the vote outcome is known.
Okay, thank you.
Ronald, I see your hand is back up. Let me send you another unmute request.
Oh, it's Kathleen again. Sorry.
That's okay.
You know, and I'm on the task force. I should know the answer to these questions, but if we get enough votes at one end of the street and not at the other end, is this an all or nothing? There's either 2 speed humps or no speed humps, or can there be 1 speed hump?
So the ballot will be for whatever you want to move forward with. And so as Nicole is showing, here's a sample ballot. So the yes or no is going to be for whatever items are included on the ballot. So it's going to be for, all items listed on the ballot. So, before you go to ballot, you have to make a determination, if you want to list both locations, if you want to adjust it and go with just one. If you want to move the location, we would have to kind of restart the process.
But if we wanted to have all our neighbors to have the option of 1 or 2 speed humps, can we do that?
No, we have to make that determination before we issue the ballot.
Okay.
So we have to know before we move to that ballot phase.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Meg, I see your hand up. I'll send you a request to unmute.
Is it any way to do it faster than 6 months? Only because the speeders have gotten worse in the last 3 months. And it is ridiculous how fast they're coming down our street right now.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do to speed up the process. Other than, trying to, move this to ballot as quickly as we can. That's about the only control that we have at this point. But it will take us a certain amount of time to, get on the agenda for the Board of Supervisors. And unfortunately, DPW's process has gotten a little clunkier and slower as we've done this. One would hope it would have gotten faster, but it went the other direction.
Yeah, COVID must have stalled the system.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yes, it's, unfortunate, but that's probably what, 6 months after the ballot process would be a general estimate for the time frame for those devices to be installed.
It's okay, then I'll just keep yelling at them.
Okay.
I would also note, based off the 6 months as well, it also depends on what time of year. If it is winter season, we might have to wait until summer or spring, depending on the weather. So it's pretty weather dependent as well. I just like to make note for that.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to get it started, because if we keep going, then we're already in Christmas again, and then we got to wait again. And I would really love to see it happen way before that. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like Nicole had said earlier, the task force should, probably reconvene after the meeting and, make a determination on if they want to proceed with the 2 devices. And if they do, then they can just reach out to Mike Coyle at the supervisor's office, and we will supply the templates to put together the ballots. And we would just want to take a look at the information that's assembled for those ballots before it's sent out. And then, once we take a look at it, the task force would then need to produce the ballots and distribute them.
I'm going to send another request to unmute.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Yes. So you have 3 members of the task force on the call. Can we just proceed? Because time, like Meg brought up, is, no sense wasting time. So Michael, can you proceed?
So, I mean, clearly it is the task force decision. And if if the task force tonight feels that they want to move forward with the plan, that's fine. I would just ask just so that I have something to, that the task force just send me an email saying that you want to proceed, just so I have that, for the record. But again, if the task force feels comfortable with the plan and they feel that, that, again, there's no way of knowing for certain, but that you feel that there's, that community support to move forward with it, that you think that it's a plan that you, the folks will vote in favor of, then by all means that, the task force can make that decision tonight.
Thank you.
And Meg, do you have your hand up again? I'm sorry, Grace, were you going to?
Yep.
I
Just sending
do.
Meg the
Okay, I'm
request.
going to speak for my mother, Pat Lawless, because she's on the committee, but she's away, because I know that she would also want to do it. I'm not on the committee because of my work schedule, but I would like to see it happen. So I'm saying let's go with it, because I'll walk around and get signatures too.
Okay.
I know
And like
people on the street that'll go for it.
Okay. And Nicole, if you want to pull up the page that shows how to return those ballots. So this will be a little bit different. We would need for the ballots to be issued hard copy by the task force, but the person receiving the ballot will need to either mail it to the supervisor's office or email it to the supervisor's office, or they can hand deliver to the supervisor's office.
Right.
But the task force can't collect the ballots.
Right. Question. Can we give them can we give them a dress envelope stamp on it?
Yes.
So there you go.
It comes in like a bifold format. So you don't necessarily have to have a stamp. You can put an envelope, I'm sorry. You can just put the stamp on the reverse side of the ballot, and the person submitting it can fold that ballot up, tape it up, and mail it back to the supervisor's office.
Okay. That works.
Okay.
How many people have to say no to you? Here's another one. How many people have to say no?
Well, I mean, if 16 say
if 16 say no, then you can't get to 16 yeses.
If I got 16 yeses, but you have 4 no's, is it okay still?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I guess I should let Mike answer. He counts them, so.
All right, there's other people I see raising their hand. I'll bow out.
Okay.
Oh, it's Kathleen again, and now I got lost in my thought there while Meg was going. Oh, I know what I was going to ask. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Okay. Are we allowed on that ballot? Can we put on the outside, thanks for your help, like a handwritten thanks for your help, or have a nice day, or please be sure to return this, like that, or no?
Well, we generally ask for a cover letter to be included, so we're going to have a couple of pieces of paper that are part of the ballot process or the ballot packet. So we would have like a cover letter explaining to people what they're receiving. So they, have an idea that, this is for traffic calming on the roadway, kind of outlining the process that you've all gone through. And then the ballot itself, the device location map, and a schematic for the speed hump.
So in answer to my question, can we write on the outside of the ballot, like on the front where it's the address to going to the supervisor's office, thanks for your help, or just
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can include that in the cover letter also if you would like.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, as Steve did mention before, we will be verifying before you send out. So basically what we'll do is we'll gather the material up, send it to Mike, he'll transfer it to you guys. You'll fill out the necessary components of those forms, and you can add additional information if you'd like. But we do need to verify that before we approve for you to start distributing the ballots. So just keep that in mind while we're going through this process.
So if we do a cover letter, you need to approve it first?
Well, we would have the cover letter already, so we're going to send the cover letter. There's certain things that you'll need to fill out on the cover letter, and then, yes, ma'am, we'll approve of it first before it gets sent out.
So you guys send all the information, the ballot, the schematic, the blah, 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 to Michael. Michael sends it to the task force.
Correct.
The task force fills it out, goes back to Michael, goes back to you. This is why, Meg, 6 months. Okay.
No. So
government at its best.
So just to let you know, with everything that was described there, between the county's Department of Transportation and myself representing Supervisor Smith's office, it's a very, very quick turnaround time. And so again, with the cover letter, it being a template, and so there are certain pieces of information that need to be in there, but it does allow that, if there's something that the task force would like to add to the cover letter, the county's Department of Transportation just needs to check it, to look over it, just to make sure that there's nothing in there that would be incorrect. Because the last thing,
tell you, don't approve it.
I'm sorry, one more.
I said, like, oh, we're going to kill you if you don't approve it, right?
No, yes, your mom will.
Yes,
but
we would strike that out. Yes.
but
y'all don't know my mother, the other two, Michael. They don't know her.
Yes, no, but that being said, again, we turn this around as quickly as possible. Again, the county's Department of Transportation just needs to make sure that whatever is in the cover letter is accurate, correct. Just because the last thing the task force wants is for someone to try to attack the process, and that would be one of the ways that they might try to do that. So we just want to make sure that everything is fine, so that at the end of the day, the outcome is based on the ballots cast, and not anyone trying to say we did something incorrectly.
So why can't the county give us the cover letter? Why can't the Department of Transportation write the cover letter up instead of us having to?
So they are, it is going to be written up by the county's Department of Transportation. Okay. There's a couple things that you'll have to fill in. And it's usually like task force contact information. But all I'm trying to say is, if there's something there that you wanted to add a sentence or two, I'm not trying to, I'm using this next part as an example, is that, the task force feels that this plan will, greatly benefit, enhance the safety of the community. If there's something along there that you wanted to put in, something like that, then obviously the task force, our transportation folks would look at it, but it's permissible.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
We should just send you that information, and then you can fill it out for us, and then it's done.
We're not that talented when it comes to writing. I would have to take it home to my daughter. So,
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying, you don't want me writing anything.
So I think what we're trying to say is that to follow the process, we're trying to follow it the best we can, step by step. Since like Mike was saying, we're trying to do each process and step the best we can. So in the process, in case if something comes up, we can say, hey, we followed all the correct steps.
I know. In case there's a lawsuit.
And again, our folks, the three folks you see there, they are really good about turning stuff around, very quickly, so that, you're not having to wait on us, for any length of time, because again, we know that once we get to this phase, especially after the community meeting, that, people are aware, they're engaged, and we don't want to slow down any of the momentum of the task force.
Okay. And Michael,
we appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. How do we move it forward to get it on the county board? Do we got to call somebody up the line here?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that question.
How do we get this to the county, to the Board of Supervisors, get it on their radar fast?
Okay, so as quickly as, or once we start the ballot process, and then whatever date we have is the deadline, I will, granted, I will also say this is probably, at least I know in the Sully district, I can't speak countywide, this is probably one of the smallest ballot areas that we've ever had. So, going through and counting the ballots will be very quick. As soon as that day that we have the deadline. So what we typically do, and I'm just making up a date here, July 17th at 5 p.m., is the deadline. And again, I'm just making up a date. But, and so basically on July 18th, I'm going to notify the task force and the county's Department of Transportation of the results. So just assuming that it's a yes and that we can move it forward, the county's Department of Transportation is going to get that information on July 18th, the next day, and then they will take the steps they need to get it onto the Board of Supervisors agenda. Because there are some steps, things in the background that they have to do and procedures that have to be followed, but they will move that as quickly as they can.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we basically need to know about a month before a board meeting to actually get one submitted.
Okay.
Maybe 6 weeks.
Well,
Yeah,
am
I think it depends on when the board date is, but yeah, I would say yes.
And, I mean, if we move forward at this point and we could be looking at like a close date on the ballot process, like the end of June, we might be able to have something to the board in September. The July date might be a bit tough.
Do they not meet every month?
And then that's what I was going to, is that the board doesn't have meetings in August.
Of course. Neither
But well,
they do need a break.
We're all on vacation in August.
Yeah. When I say this, we don't have our regular committee meetings or board meetings, but unfortunately, it's not like I get to go away for the month of August. But that's the only month that the board doesn't have any meetings.
The thing is, Michael, you work for, it's the big wigs that get off. The rest of the peons here never get off. It's like Congress.
Yeah, well, when I say this, all I can say too is my previous boss and my current boss, it's not like they got away for August as well. They're still working, but but in this case, I will say it's the only thing is why Steve is saying September is just the only reason for that is that the board does not have any scheduled meetings in August.
I have a best case scenario question. What happens if, you're getting these votes or you're getting these ballots, and I don't know if you're looking at them as they come in, but what if we get to, I know it said we have to give 3 weeks for the responses. Well, let's just say we get 17 yeses after week 1. Can we get moving, or do we have to wait till the end of the deadline?
So I will let, I'm going to defer that question to our transportation folks, because the only thing I can say to that is that I'm not sure that our office, the projects we've done, that we've really ever gotten to that place until very close to the deadline. Okay. It's never been like, hey, week 1, hey, it's.
But like, this is a very special neighborhood, Mike.
That it is. I don't disagree one bit. All I'm saying is past history has been that it's taken until almost the deadline before there would have been enough yes votes.
Okay.
Here's a little quick fact that the neighbors here back in the day in the late 70s bought their own traffic calming and put it out there. Did y'all know that? They told me when I was getting the signature, said, we bought our own, but the VDOT made us take it up.
Yeah, I did not know that, though, of course, it doesn't surprise me one bit that VDOT made you take them.
I did while we were conducting the field visit, I did have a wonderful conversation with one of the homeowners adjacent to the device, and she did mention that to me.
Same person I talked to.
Well, you know
The
what? I don't know if
first
there's
time
more
we
questions.
heard of it. Yeah.
I don't know if there's more questions, you guys, and I don't want to cut anyone off, but I did want to make sure as part of the task force that you guys know we do appreciate your time and we do appreciate you helping us so far in the process. It's been easier to follow and very well laid out. We know exactly what we needed to do, when we needed to do it. So thank you, each of you, for that.
No, thank
Well, you're
you.
welcome.
And again, a lot of the heavy lifting goes to the three folks from our county's Department of Transportation.
Thank you for working late.
We had to pull Mike out of a board meeting to get him.
I had to leave the board meeting so that I could make this meeting. So
You're welcome.
yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
It can
All
get
right.
painful.
Yeah. Well, buddy too. And I'm gonna get off because I've got a board meeting for my DC Candlelighters, my Childhood Cancer Foundation board. So I got to go to that. Thank you all
Okay.
very much.
Yep. Thanks, Meg.
And we will try to get those templates out as quickly as we can so we can get this process going. It would be a real push to try to hit that July board meeting. September is a possibility. So Nicole just pulled up a slide onto the screen that shows our contact information. If anybody does have further questions after the meeting tonight, they can reach out to dotinfo@fairfaxcounty.gov, send an email with Blueridge View Drive traffic calming in the subject line, and it will find its way to one of the three of us, and we will do our best to get a response to that email. Or you can call 703-877-5600 and ask for somebody to talk about Blueridge View Drive traffic calming with you. And once again, that call will find one of the three of us. Or you can send an email to Mr. Coyle at sully@fairfaxcounty.gov with the same information in the subject line, or give him a call at 703-814-7100. And I am sure we will all try to answer whatever questions you have to the best of our ability.
And Michael, we'll send you an email to proceed once the task force, we get together.
Yep. Nope. That perfect. And again, once I get that, then we'll be off and running.
Sounds good.
All right. And I guess that might be it for tonight. And everybody have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thanks,
attending.
everyone.
Have a good night.